that all right? Okay, how's everybody doing tonight?
Good.
Good? Yeah, how's the weekend? Good weekend, no good weekend? Good? Oh, yeah? How'd you like that? Good? Yeah? You got the sticker?
From the police.
Oh, from the police?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's a good sticker to get. You know, make sure you put down the car, so they don't give any tickets. Okay? What else? Anybody else do anything exciting and fun? No?
Not too much, went to a winery, not too bad.
Winery, okay. A Temecula or
The
local?
Fallbrook,
Yeah, okay.
which looks like just a little farm setting with alcohol in it.
It is, yeah. I think I know. There's only a few up there. How about you guys?
Think there was some competition there.
Oh, did you actually surf?
No.
Oh,
I was
okay.
watching them.
You was watching? Where at? Imperial Beach? Where was it at?
Watching them is a great knowledge for me.
Oh, just watching is great?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I like watching it too. It looks scary though, and dangerous. Okay, and surfing once, it was very difficult, very hard. What did anybody else do? No?
Trying to create the guts to go back to surfing again, it's been like a month, the water's been too cold.
Yeah, I'm not making
Yeah.
surfing. Too cold, too dangerous, and sharks. and
What
just-
did you do?
Me? What did I do? What did I do? I was in Colorado.
Oh, okay.
Beach?
Oh, no, there's no beach in Colorado.
No, this is
No,
not-
she thought you said Coronado.
Oh, Coronado, no, Colorado.
Oh.
I
Colorado,
know,
no.
that's where I moved from Denver
Oh, did you?
in
Okay.
April, so I just started.
Yeah. I got a piece of property in Grand Junction. Yes, I'll go there, check it out, see how it's going. Yeah, so I was there and then I went to Telluride. And, came back. Yeah, that's it. Nothing else. Enjoyed. Birthday, so do something.
Was your birthday?
Mhm.
Oh, happy birthday.
Thank you. Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, thank you.
Happy
Thank
birthday.
you. Yep. Officially 52 now, so.
Oh my God. 25?
No, 52. The other way around, the other number, 5-2, yeah, the other way around.
You could, I would believe you say you were 25.
I don't believe me. Okay, but I appreciate it, but no.
I believe.
You believe me? I appreciate you believing me. Yes, all 52, okay?
Somehow
That's it.
You came in, I was like, man, this guy fresh out of school.
Yeah, no, I wish. I was fresh out of school. I wish I was still in school. School is easy. Life is hard. Okay. All right, any questions about anything? Questions? No? Everybody good?
What if I make my town justification on students who are struggling with the UPD?
You could tie that
From the
in.
humorous resources perspective, like what sort of things those guys are looking for?
Yes, you could tie that in two ways. You could tie that in one with the drug policy, you know, as far as screening and testing for it. And you could tie it in as far as one of the work-life balance issues as far as mental health and you know, the well-being of the workforce and how companies are instituting different are using different drugs and that kind of thing, or letting that be allowed, you know, in the workplace to help people relieve stress. That'd be interesting to see if, what, you know, what HR is doing as far as that goes, because a lot of places now you don't have to, you know, they're not screening for marijuana anymore, right? Because it's just a waste of money, really. So, and they're introducing different psychedelics and different drugs, you know, in the workplace, and considering CBD and THC to be a little less addictive than maybe, you know, like Prozac or Valium and those kind of drugs that kind of help reduce stress. So you could tie it in that way also. But yeah, so as long as you can tie it into where the HR perspective is, hey, when HR may be considering this as a tool to help, you know, the workforce de-stress, good. Actually, probably interesting. I like to see that. That'd be pretty cool. Okay. Anybody else? Anybody have any general questions about the tie justification? It's pretty straightforward. No? You look, you have a question. No? Okay.
Is there gonna be, like a final paper that is related to this?
Yeah, this is, so this is the beginning of it, right?
Oh, okay.
Just everything that you do from this point forward is about your final paper. So the title
Exact, like
justification,
the title
Yeah.
justification, we have to dig it more deeper and put it on the final paper.
Okay.
that's it. Yeah, everything's about your final paper. The title justification, the draft. The only thing that's not about your paper is the case study. Okay? Everything else is leading up to your final paper, final presentation. All right, so the topic you choose now is what you'll be writing on and delivering to us, end of the day, okay? Any other questions? Anybody new here? Nobody? Anybody's here? Been here? Yeah, okay. What was I gonna say? Oh, did you guys see your group assignments on the portal? Okay, so no mistake, just look at the groups assigned. There's 4 groups. All right, on average, there's about 4 people in each group. So you should be good to go, okay? I suggest you reach out to your group mates and discuss responsibilities and section off the work. Okay? Yes, ma'am.
Can we talk a little bit about that,
Yeah.
the case, because
What do
I
you wanna
think it
know?
was, I don't know,
Like what?
just,
The case study is basically, it's scenario based, so that you have, once you click on the link, you should be able to see it now. Click on the actual link, and it's all it is a scenario that, a lot of times, you'll deal with in a company or an organization. And you just have to kind of analyze the situation. You have to get to know the people, the characters in the situation, and then pretty much, tell me or tell each other or write it down as to what your approach would be based on the facts or the details you got within the what you would call it, the attachment or the PDF that's on there. Okay? So we just do an analysis of the situation and what HR laws pertain, what HR rules pertain. There may not be any HR laws or regulations that apply to the situation. It maybe just be like, hey, there's some issues, some team dynamic issues, people not getting along, personality conflicts. How do I, rectify that? There may be some pay issues and that kind of thing. So how do I rectify that, right? So just read it. You got everything you need is in there. Okay, so you should be good to go. All right. I'd suggest, just kind of, if you want, there's a couple of different ways you could do it. You could just go down the line and answer the questions, or you can give your own summary and do it like a paper sort of, right? Then you can give kind of the situation, the facts of the situation, and then kind of the problems. And then after that, give solutions, and then the conclusion as to, kind of wrap it all up, sort of a summary wrap up. And then that's it. So I'm assuming it shouldn't be any more than 5 pages. That's, including title page. You don't necessarily need a reference page for this. So, title page and then maybe 4, 5 pages of content. Okay? Just answering the question. So don't get stuck around the pages either. Just answer the questions, be in depth, be comprehensive, but if you can do it in 3 pages, that's fine. Just make sure that you are answering the question and addressing the issue at hand. Okay? You should be good. All right. Anybody else? Anything else more specific? No? Good? All right. I don't see any emails. Okay, so you got a question. What question do you have? Do not ask me in class. Okay? Want to know. All right. So, we'll probably have a short class. I'm actually not feeling well. I wasn't gonna come to work, but figured you guys would miss me, so I was like, let me come to work. Okay, I know how much you guys like me. So, like, I don't want to disappoint them, so I should come to work. All right. What was I gonna say? Oh, so your LEs, right? Okay, everybody's getting better with the LEs, okay? Just make sure sight, do your best and just cite as much as you can, right? Get into the habit of practicing citing reference list. Watch the format and the structure, right? Too much white space, okay? And I know sometimes Moodle, you'll put it in one way, but Moodle will do whatever it wants it to do, all right? So I take that in consideration also, but keep, double space between paragraphs, half paragraphs, 4 to 6 sentences, and that kind of thing, right? Just don't give me one long paragraph. It makes it very difficult to read. I can't read that, right? Or don't make it the paragraph go all the way across the page, where I have to scroll to the left to see what's going on, right? So be cognizant of the format, the structure also, and try to just cite a little bit more, right? But for, all intents and purposes, you guys are doing pretty good. Don't be late, okay? If you're late, it's 10%, okay? 10% per day, okay? It goes quick, all right? 10% of 14 is 1.4 points. You're 2 days late, guess what? That's basically 3 points gone, all right? So you're now down to 11. Then I gotta grade it. So now you're down to 9, all right? If it's perfect, all right? So just be cognizant of that. Try to get it in on time. All right, I understand the situations, but if you get it in, on Thursday morning, that's I won't count it late. All right, but get it in Wednesday night if possible. All right, so just keep that in mind. All right, but you guys are doing good. All right, so there's no more questions, comments? No? Yes.
I always worried about my quiz second week.
Okay.
I was trying to do it,
Uh-huh.
and I don't know what happened. It like took it all like away
Okay.
from the screen, and then I would try to do it again,
Yeah.
and it was showing that you can't the same thing.
Yeah. So send me an email.
Oh,
Just lay it out, and then I'll take a look at it, okay? If you got any issues with quizzes or, something that affect, the best bet is to email me, okay? Because all I do is I just kind of tag it, and I go get a chance to go back and look at it, and then I'll see what can be done. But in most situations, if you ask me or request to fix something or to do something over, I'm probably gonna let you do it because that shows initiative. If you make a mistake and you're like, hey, I want to fix it, to me that's important. That's part of the learning process because you're engaged. You like, hey, I want to do better. I want to fix it. So let me fix it. So I will give you the opportunity to fix it, and then I'll go back and oh, that looks better, and I'll give you credit. I'll give you points back. Okay. So don't ever be afraid to want to correct your work. All right, because that's the whole process, right? Always improving it, right? Maybe have an opportunity to go back, revise, go back, revise, go back, revise, and then until you get to a product that you're like, okay, I'm okay with, and you give it to someone else, to your boss or whatever, and your boss says, you need to fix this and that, right? It's not that it's necessarily wrong, but it's a preference thing, right? People have different ways that they like to see things, right? It doesn't mean it's wrong, it's just that's the way your boss likes it, right? Whatever your boss likes, that's the right way.
Yeah.
All right,
exactly.
that's the right. So don't be afraid to say, hey, you know what, Dr. Case, I want to correct the mistake I made that you took points off of. No problem, send it in. If there's improvement, I'll give you points. All right, I'm not one of the teachers that says nobody can get 100. Okay, you can if you deserve it. You work on it, you can get 100. All right, or an A at the very least. Okay, all right. Good, good. All right, okay. So today we're going to talk about workforce, job analysis and job design. Okay. So one of the things that you will definitely run into, well, either way, right? Depending on where you are, where you enter yourself into an organization, right? Like at this point, if you go into an established company, you're not going to be doing really any job design or any job analysis for the most part, unless you're going into a new situation. So let's take, for instance, election happened, right? And Donald Trump is going to be Mr. President here, President Trump here back in January, whatever that is. All right. So for him, right, when he's looking at being president again, what are you noticing that he's doing right away? What are some of the things if you've been keeping up with it, right? What is he doing right now? What do you see in the news about the future president and what he's doing, what actions he's taking right now?
Next about the.
Mega? Go ahead, go ahead.
But it is about the immigrant status who are coming from.
No, not necessarily his agenda per se, but what is he doing at this moment? Like, what's he not himself per se? What actions is he taking right now?
He's delegating people to certain functions he wants. This person be in charge of this department.
Okay, right. That's the HR function,
Yes.
right? He's setting up his staff, right? He's looking at all the positions that he has on his cabinet and figuring out who do I put in all these places, right? What?
Yeah, he's making a team.
Right, he's making his team, right? So he's somewhat doing somewhat of what we call job analysis, all right, or job design, sort of, right? Because he's thinking about, okay, the way I think or feel about things, I need to get a like-minded team around me that's gonna think and feel the same way I do, right? Because what is it that you don't want, right? If you're at the top and you're starting to get people to come work for you, what is one thing you don't want to have?
People that can't agree with each other in jobs.
Yeah.
Exactly, right? You don't want conflict from the very beginning, right? What you want is synergy, right? You want people to be able to work with each other, right? But even more so, I want people to understand where I'm coming from as the leader, and I don't really want any pushback in the sense of that we don't have the same ideological thoughts. Okay? It's okay to push back on different ideas and different things going on, but ideologically, at the end of the day, philosophically, we agree on most things, right? We see it the same way, right? And so he needs to build a team around him like that, right? Now, most CEOs don't get that opportunity, right? Most CEOs, they'll get to pick maybe the COO, maybe, right? Maybe they'll get to pick the chief of staff, maybe, right? After that, everybody's usually in place already, and then they'll have to fire them and then bring them on. But even then, they still have to kind of go through the board, right? Yes, Donald Trump's, picks are gonna have to go through the confirmation hearing, right? Everybody familiar with how the process works? No? Okay, so this is what's gonna happen. He's gonna select whoever he wants to be, whatever position he wants, okay? And then at some point, after he takes office, all these individuals, each one of these people have to go to the Congress and the Senate. And they have to go through a vetting process, right? So they're gonna do a background check on all of them. They pretty much all of them already in the system, right? They've been in the government one way, capacity, another, right? It's gonna go, they're gonna do a background check. After they do a background check, each one of them is gonna sit in front of the Senate, sit in front of Congress, right, in front of the House of Representatives, and they're going to ask them it's a job interview. That's all it is. It's a big job interview. But they have to do it twice. Okay?
One of the congressmen was in the.
One is Congress, one is Senate, okay? And then after that's over, then they sit down and they talk. Do we like this person? Okay? Right? Because they didn't pick them, right? Does this person have the skill sets that we think they need to have to do this job, right? Is there something in this person's background that I think is kind of concerning that would give me pause and I could not necessarily vote for them for this position? Okay, that's going to be the process, right? But right now, President Trump, he's looking at all these positions and trying to figure out, okay, what does the job entail? Fortunately for him, he's already done the job as president, so he kind of knows all the positions already. But who's going to fit into these particular jobs, right? And he may have to go down a little deeper in order to pick, especially those pivotal positions like Attorney General, Secretary of State, right? Those positions where there's a lot of turmoil, there's a lot of things that could go wrong, there's a lot of differences of opinion, right? He has to pick the right person who's gonna somewhat be okay with everyone, right? Everybody's gonna be like, he's not my number one choice, or she's not my number one choice, but I'm good with her, right? I would have picked somebody else, but that's okay, right? But that all goes back to the job design, the job analysis. in trying to figure out, okay, what does this job entail? What are the responsibilities? What are the tasks? What are the duties involved with these jobs? And can I find the person that can do and fulfill those particular duties, right? And so companies do this all the time. It just so happens that, we're fortunate to be having an, election, and you can kind of see the process happening in front of your eyes, right? He's put together his staff, right? And from an HR perspective, right, it's very interesting because when you look at the different people, they may not necessarily fit the job, okay? And so you've got to figure out, like, what is his determining factor in hiring these people for these jobs, right? And that's only he knows that, right? It may be loyalty. It may not necessarily be the skill set.
Looking for an X factor.
Yeah, he's looking for an X factor, whatever his X factor is.
Yeah.
Okay? And he's the hiring manager. He's the end of the road, right? He doesn't even talk to anybody else, right? Once he says it's the person he wants, they just gotta get confirmed, right? Now there's a possibility that these folks will not get the job because the Senate and the Congress will say, you know what? Too radical, too much. This person's not gonna do well. We're not gonna work well with this person, and they don't get confirmed, right? That means you have to pick someone else. Okay? Same thing in corporate America, same thing in businesses, right? You look at the job, you look at the requirements of the job, you promote, you recruit, you look at everybody's, credentials, you bring them in for an interview, and you see if they fit. Okay? Does this person's personality fit with what we got going on? And they may have all the requisite skills on paper, but they may not fit personality-wise. Vice versa, they may fit personality-wise, but not have maybe all the experience you're looking for, right? But the good thing about most jobs is that you can learn, okay? The personality is always the hard part. All the other skill sets, as long as you have a foundation, right, you can learn the job, okay? So it's not a big deal, but I have to know what the job entails. I have to know the design of the job. I have to know, who the person's going to be working with. I have to know whether this person is going to be required to travel, whether this person is going to be required to write reports, whether this person is going to be required to speak in front of people, right? Deliver, daily summaries. I had a job when I was in DC, and every morning I had to give what we call the CUB, which is the Commander's Update Brief, right? And so I'd walk in, and I'd come in at 6:30. And then I get my PowerPoint ready, and my PowerPoint entails everything that was going on in the world that we were involved in. Okay? Iraq, Africa, Europe, Caribbean, South America, whatever was going on, I had to report it. Okay? And so I come in with my PowerPoint, and then all the commanders in there, all the other staff are in there, principal staff. And I'm talking commander, I'm talking about like stars, like generals, admirals, that kind of level, right? And just sit down and I give my brief, and like, hey, this is what goes on, right? I'm okay with speaking in front of people, okay? But if I wasn't, and that's part of the job requirement, right? Then they probably would not have made me do it, right? They probably like, oh, you know what? Dr. Case is not really good in front of people because he's nervous or whatever the case may be, and he can't deliver the information like we need, right? And so we should not bring him on to do this job. Give it to someone else who's comfortable speaking in front of people, okay? And so when you do the job of design, job analysis, you have to keep those things in mind as to whether or not this particular requirement that you have is something that can be filled, okay? And what I mean by that is there somebody out there that actually has the skill? Right? Can they actually do this job? Is there somebody out there that's, personable, can talk in front of people, knowledgeable, okay? What they say they know, right? It's because most times when you're speaking publicly in front of a crowd, you're probably the subject matter expert, okay? You know what you're talking about. Everybody in the crowd is just listening. And if you say something, right, that is pertinent, and they're gonna take it and they're gonna run with it, right? And they're gonna make decisions based off of that, right? And so all that goes into figuring out, okay, when I'm doing the job design and I'm doing the job analysis, right? Not only am I looking at, what the responsibilities are, but what I'm looking at also is what we call the compensable factors, Okay? Which one of the responsibilities and duties do I need to pay this person for? Okay, so let's just say part of your job is to take the trash out. Do you guys think that's a compensable factor? Do you guys think that I'm gonna pay somebody to take the trash out?
Depends
Depends on what?
how much the trash is.
How much the trash is, right? Or it depends if they're that's the job, right? If that's the job, right? But let's just say it's just a function of like it's just something you gotta do. It's not necessarily a requirement for the job. It's just something, hey, you gotta take the trash out. All right? Do you think that companies pay for that? No, companies don't pay for that. It's not a compensable factor. Oh, you can type 100 words a minute. That's a compensable factor, right? Because that's a skill. Taking the trash out is not a skill, right? Anybody can take the trash out for the most part, right? But typing 100 words a minute or understanding algorithms or understanding fashion or understanding business or understanding finance, right? Understanding the way they cost the capital and stuff like that, right? Those are compensable factors, right? And that's what goes into job design and job analysis. Trying to figure out what responsibilities do I have within this job that I need to pay this person for, and for each thing, how much is it? How much is it worth? Okay, and can I bundle things together? Do I really need them to do that? Because there's a lot of things that you do at work that are inherent, and nobody's gonna tell you. Nobody tells me, "Hey, turn the lights on." Nobody says, "Hey, you need to write stuff on the board." Nobody says, you have to set up this PowerPoint. No one says, "Hey, you should come in and greet the students." I don't get paid for that. Okay? That's free. I just come in, say, "Hey, do this part, turn the lights off when I leave." Okay? Turn the TV on. Those are not compensable, right? But what I'm doing now is a compensable factor. I am lecturing, we're talking, we're having a conversation about, job analysis and job, design. So that's something they pay me for, right? And so when you do your job design, job analysis, you're looking to see how much of the compensable factors do I have, what's it gonna cost me, right? And where can I build efficiencies within this particular job, right? How much can I get this person to do? And is this particular job something where I need to limit their responsibilities, right? So if I have an engineer who's in charge of the propulsion system on a rocket or something, or I don't know, whatever, right? Do I really want him doing too many things? You're in charge of propulsion. You're in charge of the jet systems. You're in charge of the computer on board, and you're in charge of the propulsion system by itself is complicated enough. Now I'm giving you 4 or 5 other things. And with that, there's 4 or 5 people that come with that, right? So now I'm putting this person in charge of 15, 20 people, and then in charge of their own propulsion system, right? And you ask them to be proficient and do it well. I probably ask them too much, right? This is where people get burnout, right? Not understanding that you can't really overload people with a bunch of stuff, right? The job may say need X, Y, Z, right? Or let's just say a doctor, right? A doctor, everybody's been a doctor, right? So, right, everybody's seen a doctor before, okay? So doctors work very, they have to be very efficient. And because the doctor on average, depending on what kind of doctor they are, they'll see 20 patients a day. Okay? It's not the ideal situation, but that's what it is, right? That's why it takes some time, like if you have surgery, it takes time to get, what you might call it, scheduled for surgery, because they may just have one cardiologist, they may have one orthopedic surgeon, they may have one doctor of that type, and that doctor can only do so many surgeries in a day, right? Depending on what the surgery is, some doctors will do 3 surgeries a day, and that's considered a lot, okay? Obstetrician, how many babies can I deliver in one day? I don't know, right? But I definitely know more than 2 or 3, right? Depending on the length of each one, the doctor's probably gonna be tapped out, right? Pilots, all right? Pilots, 8 hours. After 8 hours, they can't fly anymore. They gotta take a break. They have to get crew rest, all right? Or pilot time off, or whatever they call it, all right? And they can't fly. This is why sometimes you get stuck at the airport and they cancel the flight. They didn't cancel the flight because the plane's not there or the plane's not ready to go. It's because the pilot timed out, right? The crew timed out, right? Whatever the delay was caused them to go over 8 hours. After that, they can't fly by law, right? Because they're just too tired. You know, it just doesn't work well, okay? So you have to understand what the job entails in order to really know who's gonna do the job well, how much you're gonna pay the person, you know, what kind of effort is it gonna take, what responsibilities are involved, the scope, right? And the scope and the responsibility, level of responsibility and authority is directly related to the pay or the compensation. The higher responsibilities, the more you get paid. The lower your responsibilities or less responsibilities, the less you get paid, right? CEOs, they get paid $1 gazillion. Person in Donald's flipping hamburgers, French fries, not so much, all right? Because the responsibilities, we're not really counting on you to do much, right? Yes, if you mess up, it's gonna kind of throw everything off, but guess what? I could probably do the fries and do the milkshakes at the same time, okay? Or something like that, right? So the CEO makes a decision. It's different from a cashier making a decision. The CEO's decision is going to reverberate and impact everyone, right? So you need the CEO to be, of sound mind and body, but also there's a lot of responsibility on the CEO. That's why they get paid so much. It's not because the job is so difficult. It is that when it becomes difficult and the decisions they need to make, right? They understand that it impacts everyone. It has a profound and long-lasting impact on the organization, right? Any decisions that are made at the highest levels are going to be, felt by everyone in the company, all right? Just like when the president is making these choices right now, the decisions he's making now, as far as the people go, are going to have an impact on all of us, okay? Because some of the policies that they're trying to institute are not necessarily something that everyone agrees with, right? You may not necessarily be a proponent of, the immigration policies that they're advocating for, or you may not be a proponent of the economic policies that they're advocating for, right? But the person that he puts in charge may be, may agree with you, right? Or may not agree with you, right? But they know that those decisions, once they're made, are going to have an impact on the economy, going to have an impact on immigration, going to have impact on everything, right? When Donald Trump makes a decision, soon coming down the line, right? Understanding about tariffs and stuff like that, right? You guys probably not paying attention to that stuff, right? But when it does happen, you're gonna know. You know why? Because you're gonna notice there's gonna be an uptick in prices and everything. Okay? You're gonna notice that, oh, all of a sudden, I can't get avocados, I can't get strawberries. Why is milk so expensive now? Okay, what happened? Oh, that's okay, that's what we're doing. Right? You're gonna see those things, right? Those are all policy initiatives that whoever he hires on is gonna promote, right? But that person has to understand the job design. Bless you, has to understand the job design, the responsibilities that come with that particular job design. And also, you want to limit to a certain degree. As I said, the higher you go, the more responsibility and power you have, but you want to limit that, right? You want to delegate, but you also don't want it to be where there's no oversight. Okay. Okay. All right. So let's see here. Workforce profile. All right. So when we look at then some of the elements of workforces, right? Age and generational group, right? This is a big kind of thing, right? When we're talking about HR, firing, hiring, retaining, promoting, okay? Because especially now, the generations are so different in their perspective, right? My generation, Generation X, and I know most of you probably are like may understand it, the whole generational thing, but I think we're the only country that has this nonsense. Okay, Generation X, Generation Y, Generation Z, baby boomers. I don't think anybody else has it like that per se, right? I think we're the only country, right? But bear with me, right? We got baby boomers, we got Gen X, we got Gen Y, we got Gen Z, And I think we might Gen A, I don't know right now, I'm
You guys
confused
are
right
baby
now.
boomers?
Huh?
You guys are baby boomers?
No, you guys are not the baby boomers.
Gen Z, they all-
Yeah. Who?
Gen Z.
Gen Z, yeah, you guys are Gen Z, you guys are Gen Z, maybe Gen A? Who's over 30 here?
Millennial.
Yeah, millennial, yeah, Gen Y, oh, that Gen Z.
Gen Z, I think it's 1996 and forward,
Yeah.
until like 2010 or
I
something.
can't remember, they was switch
I
it,
don't think
right?
nobody here is 14 years old, so.
No, yeah, so most of you guys are either millennials or Gen Z, all right? I'm Gen X, and we have no baby boomers here, and, but the baby boomers are pretty much dying off. Baby boomers are they're 1940s, they're World War II,
Always like 60.
yeah, 60s, right? They're pretty much in the 80s.
66 or something.
They're gonna be gone soon, okay? Then I'm gonna be in charge. Okay, Gen X is gonna take over, right? But it's important because baby boomers think differently than I do, and then you do, right? Their values and the things that they fought for, or they kind of were important to them, it's a different world, right? Baby boomers, what they worried about back in the day was, hey, having a job that was secure, making enough money to buy a little house, a car, and life was simple, easy, right? Gen X, we were more worried about, okay, yes, we want security, but we also want long-term security as far as, okay, am I gonna get a pension? What, what we doing here, right? Which we had, that's what we have here. The pensions were part of Gen X, right? Gen Y, different ball game, right? You guys are like, yeah, I don't care about none of that stuff. I want to hug a tree, okay? I'm trying to save the world, and I just want to go travel, sort of, right? And then Gen Z and Gen Y too. I don't want to be a job longer than 3 years. Okay, if I'm in a job longer than 3 years, I gotta go. I gotta go find another job, right? And so that's important because companies will look at it and go, okay, this position, I probably need somebody who's willing to stick around for a while, right? Not looking to move, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. But from a perspective of hiring, right, it costs money to hire. Okay? Every time a company hires somebody, it's a salary, right? And not only your salary, but think about the person that left. I still gotta pay them, okay? Whatever they were owed, severance, and that kind of thing. I bring you on, it's probably a bonus, relocation, there's the training, right? That's all money up front that I'm giving you. You haven't worked yet, okay? And so the companies think about those things. They also think about it in a setup that if I bring you on as a Gen Z or millennial into a position, are you gonna get along with your baby boomer boss or your Gen X boss, right? Because I may tell you, hey, look, I need you to do this report. You go, no problem. You go to ChatGPT, there you go, report's done. And I look at the report and go, what is this? Is this report you wanted? No, this is not what I asked you for. I asked you for a report on this. It is a report on this. Yeah, you have to build a report, not ChatGPT. Okay, I need you to build it. All right, I need you to do research. Okay, and so it's different because you may be like, well, it seems like I'm working harder than smarter, right? Why can't I just go to Google, get the information I need, and call it a day? Not that you can't, right? But the way you put it together may not necessarily be the way I like it, right? And so generations are, when it comes to work, are important, right? You, as far as Gen Zs and Gen Ys, aren't necessarily concerned about, like, not that you're not concerned about a pension or, retirement, because you guys are, but it's just a little different where it's more like you guys want to have a good experience. You guys want to be able to go someplace and say, you know what, I learned XYZ from this company and I'm ready to move on to something else so I can learn ABC from this other company, right? And keep developing. You guys are not afraid to go try new things, right? Generation is not, you're not used to certain things. You're not used to necessarily thinking through things because you don't have to. right? When I grew up, we didn't have Google. If you want to know something, you had to go to the library. Okay, you had to do your own research. You had to know how to use the library system. I don't. You guys know how to use the library system? Dewey Decimal System?
Yeah.
Yeah? No. Yeah, you might know, but most people, most generations now, has anybody, when's the last time somebody mailed a letter?
Two
Wrote
decades
it.
ago.
How many?
2 decades ago.
2 decades ago, right? Okay, wrote a check. Anybody?
Never.
You wrote a check?
Yes.
Never wrote a check, right?
Oh, it's around, but.
What was that?
My dorm rooms, they'll take checks, they'll take 15 days to deposit them, so I always roll checks.
Exactly, right? So you have the time,
Yeah.
right? You can roll the money, right? You can't do that nowadays, right?
Not
Okay.
direct deposit.
No, you can't do that nowadays. So it's different as far as the approach, right? And so if you look at companies that are more high tech and are innovative and more of the, based on technology, you notice that the workforce is relatively young. Okay? If you look at companies that are in traditional industries, oil, steel, manufacturing, they tend to be a little older or, kind of different type of folks. They're not as tech savvy, except when you get to the operation side where you need to be tech savvy to keep up with the market, right? The attitudes are different, all right? And then when you start getting into the cultural aspect, as far as like the different, especially here in the United States, the different cultures that you have, right? They work differently, right? Whereas back in the day, everybody kind of had the same mindset because you kind of had one boss, and that boss was like in charge of everything. Whatever they said, you did, right? Here nowadays, you got a little more free thought. You got more a little leeway to kind of think about things. Is this the best approach? Right? Again, technology has changed a whole lot, right? Because it doesn't take as long to do research. It doesn't take as long to do certain things. You can find things pretty quickly on the internet, right? You can produce things pretty fast, right? And so all those things are factors when we start looking at, okay, job design and job analysis. And also, I may not need to pay you as much because you're not doing as much things, right? If it takes you 5 seconds to go to Google and pull this up, it takes you 5 seconds. Like before, it may have taken me an hour, right, to do it because I had to actually go and look at stuff and figure it out, that kind of thing, right? And so when you look at age and generation, it's important to, really look at, okay, what does my demographic look like? And all these people are going to get along, right? That's really the key. Is my old guy going to get along with my young lady? Okay? And the person in the middle, which happens to be me, Generation X, right? What they going to do? Okay? They got their own problems and issues, all right? So you got to kind of look at all those things. Skill gaps, of course, kind of look at that and look at the skill differences between people, right, and what they bring to the table, right? Everybody has something, they may bring the same skill or foundational skills to the table, but some are better than others, in their particular understanding of something, right? And so you have to kind of look at, okay, if I have a job that's very skill heavy or tech heavy or requires a lot of cognitive ability, I gotta find the right person for that. I just can't throw somebody in there and be like, okay, well, go ahead. I'm throwing you in the ocean and you gotta swim. It doesn't work that way. A lot of people will drown, all right? You gotta look at is the ability to handle different things, right? The ability to handle dynamic situations. Not everyone is cut out to be, in the military or be a lawyer or a doctor or a certain type of lawyer, right? If you're a litigator, right, or if you're in the courtroom, right, what kind of person do you think needs to be in a courtroom? Is a court lawyer, a trial lawyer? What kind of person are we talking about as far as skills and maybe some of the characteristics that they have, right? What do you think the difference between a contract lawyer a contract lawyer and a trial lawyer? Somebody who's actually in court. What do you think the difference is?
Social skills and verbal, like, be able
Okay.
to talk and argue.
Okay, right? Okay, what else?
They will be much more confident in their approach towards the law
Okay.
because they are getting paid for the thing, like they have the contract, so they have no job just to
Right.
learn those things, and they would be better be able to presented compared to the another one.
Okay, all
It
right.
depends on the same stream, but different skills that they have learned in their studies.
And that's it, okay, all right.
Now, trial lawyer gotta be work with the court system, the jury, make sure we're
Right.
able to convince people better.
Okay, yeah, so yeah, got some persuasion, right? Trial lawyer probably has to be quick on their feet, right? Because you're presented with information from the other side, and now you gotta think about, okay, what are different approaches that I can use when I get up here in the next 30 seconds that I can use to attack? You notice when when you're watching real trials, not TV, stuff on TV, when you watch real court trials, you ever notice, you see somebody says something, you see the lawyer writing stuff down. Those are all questions they're thinking about, like, okay, I'm gonna attack him this way, right? So you gotta be, everybody doesn't think like that, right? You may process things like, where somebody else is like, they got it, they saw it, they got a plan, they're ready to talk about it, right? So you have to be able to assess that, right? Because I may need somebody who's like this, or I may need somebody who's like this, right? This is methodical. This is detailed. This is careful. This is comprehensive, right? This is real fast. I may have missed something. Oh, I had a better thought, but it's too late because I'm moving so fast. This person is, oh, okay, all right, let me think about it. Let me give me an hour, I'll get back to you. Okay, this person, give me 3 seconds, I have something, right? And so you have to understand the difference between the two, right? When you're hiring people on and to understand the demand of the job, right? Am I gonna put this person in the midst of a fire, right? When they're standing in front of somebody or they're presenting, every week they have to give a brief at the meeting, right? You might not think about those things because the person is so qualified with all their skills, but they can't handle the pressure of every week got to do something, right? So there's a difference in the skills and making sure that you get the right skills for that job within the company, okay? And then improving readiness to work, right? So when you're looking at, development, okay? And this is why one of the areas where companies have gotten better, but we're slacking a lot, professional development, right? When we talk about professional development, we're really talking about things that you go as far as learning, right? Special classes or different things you're doing. Like even right now, this is considered professional development. You're in school, you're getting another degree, right? Because everybody has a bachelor's degree, and even some of you guys probably have masters already. You're getting another master's, right? In order to get more understanding, right? Or in order to build another set of skills, right? It's going to enhance what you have already, right? That's all professional development. Companies are not very good at doing that, right? And it's one main reason why companies are not good at professional development, right? And letting people, build on their skills, right? Why do you guys think companies are not good at professional development?
They are saving time for productivity. If they devote the valuable time which they are billing for the employees in developing themselves, what company are earning from them? There's been nothing.
Company wants a professional, they want to pay them directly, so they don't want to waste the time on someone.
Okay.
They don't pay for it.
What you're saying is somewhat correct, but it's not, because if I send you some training,
Yeah.
it has to give value back to the company.
Yeah.
Okay? It can be, you can do one set of training that doesn't necessarily give anything back to the company, but there's gonna be some training in there that there's gonna be some value to give back to the company. But it's more that reason where if you're going to training, who's doing your job?
Yeah.
And I'm not paying you to go train, I'm paying you to do the job, right? And so a lot of companies don't like necessarily for you to, it's not they don't want you to develop, they don't want you to develop on their time. You want to go to school? Go to night class. You want to go to school? Do it online, right? Don't do it between 9 and 5. You're busy, okay? You're at work, right? You come to me and say, hey, I'm going to take a class during lunch. Great. I need to leave early. Leave early for what? So I can take class. Man, that's not gonna work for us. Okay, that's not gonna work, right? And so understanding that when you send your people to the classes into education, you're really developing them, right? Which should be one of the main objectives as a leader, right? You want your people to get better. But also, I need you to do the work, right? And me not having to pass it on to someone else, right? But I want you to improve because that's going to improve the company long term. Okay, it's going to add another skill set, right? Because if you go to school and you come back and you have a master's in one thing, right, engineering, you go and you go get your MBA, right? That's a new skill set that you attain, right? What can the company do with that? A lot. Now you understand business, you understand balance sheet, you understand P&L, profit and loss statement, you understand income statement, you understand how to raise capital, right? You understand a little bit about HR, right? I can give you a task and say, you know what? I need you to build this particular thing, right? I need you to create a new salary band or something like that, right? You may not necessarily can do it on your own, but you understand the tenets of it, right? You have the conceptual idea of like what it looks like. It's not something that's new, like, hey, I need you to build a rocket. Well, I don't know. I'm not a rocket scientist, so I don't know how to build rockets, right? But I know how to do Excel spreadsheet, and I could put all the costs down and the expenses and how much money we're bringing in, right? Because I have an MBA. I understand business, right? And this is a big deal because as a doctor, as a lawyer, as most professions aside from business folks, you don't get that. Okay? Most lawyers, most doctors, most professionals, they don't understand how to be a leader. They don't understand how to manage anything. Right? What they understand is the technical aspect of their job. They know how to be a doctor. They know how to be a lawyer. They don't know how to handle payment. They don't know what accounts receivable is. They don't know how to build a team, right? The way they build a team is, I need this kind of guy, I need this kind of girl, I need this kind of person. Okay. How much are you? 100. Okay, fine, whatever. We're gonna hire you guys, right? Not thinking about, okay, how much money is it gonna take for me to do certain things, right? That's why most times you see, not most times, but a lot of times you'll see professionals go back to school to get their MBA, right? Because they need to understand the other side of the business, right? Because they want to matriculate up the ladder, right? You can move up as far as, being a clinician sort of, right? If you're a doctor, you're a cardiac surgeon or cardiologist, you can move up and be the senior cardiologist. But what if you want to be the chief of staff? What if you want to manage the nurses and the doctors in the hospital? Where'd you get that experience from? Right? You have to get that doing the job or at least having been exposed to that, right? Even if you get exposed to it in an MBA program, at least you got exposed to it. You know how to lead, you know how to do, because on the admin side of things, right? If you switch over, guess what you're not doing? You're not seeing patients. You're not doing surgery. You know what you're doing? You're doing evaluations. You are writing letters to people that have grievances and trying to address those problems. You're putting out fires. That's the difference between the admin side and the practitioner side. Okay. If I'm a doctor, if I'm as a lecturer, as a teacher, right, I teach, but I also have to grade, right? If I was just a lecturer, I would just lecture. If I was just a speaker, I just speak, boom, I get my money, I go home, I don't have to worry about anything, right? But when I leave here, tomorrow morning, I'm gonna open my computer, and I'm gonna see all the great LEs you guys did, and guess what? You guys will be like, where's my grade, Dr. Case? That's the admin side of the house, right? That's the side I have to understand, that I have to know. That's the business side of it, right? That's the money side, right? Because if you don't get your grade, guess what? You're gonna be like, Dr. Case, where's my grade at? And then if I don't respond to you, if I don't give you a grade, guess where you're gonna go next? Upstairs. You're gonna call somebody. Hey, Dr. Case is slacking. He didn't give my grade. It's been 2 hours. I don't know where my grade is at. Okay, need my grade ASAP. All right. Now, I'm gonna do my job because I'm familiar with it, right? But there's other things that go with the job, right? And you want to try to improve your folks as much as you can to be prepared for those things, right? But again, it goes to what they're trying to do, right? Not everybody wants to be in charge, right? But it's always helpful to have someone who is dynamic and can do both things, right? Understand the technical side of the house, but also understand the business side of the house, okay? And if you plan on being an entrepreneur, you're definitely gonna have to understand the business side of the house, because the other side comes easy to you. If you're into fashion, if you're into photography, whatever you're into, right? That stuff is easy for you because that's what you like, right? But the other side is the side that you don't like, right? You ask any entrepreneur, they'll tell you the part that they hate the most: paying the bills, figuring out the shifts, right? Having to talk to people, having to manage people, doing evaluations. They hate that stuff. Okay? They hate it. I hate it. I don't like doing that stuff, right? I just want to teach. I just rather teach. If I had somebody to grade all the stuff for me, I'd be so happy. Okay? I don't have that kind of money, neither in the school, right? But at other schools, I had a teaching assistant. I had a grad student, and I just teach my class, and they would grade everything. They give the test. How about here's the test? Give it, grade it. Whatever grades the student gets, it's on you, right? Unless the student had a grievance, and then I would look at it and go, okay, well, you didn't do this right. And the student has a point, right? But if there was no issues, my TA would take care of that stuff, right? My TA would like make sure is that yours? Okay, as long as it wasn't this one, okay. My TAs would just look and go, oh, okay, we got it out the case. No problem. I'm out of here. I'm going home. I'm going to do whatever. Okay. When they get paid, do all that admin stuff. Right. I don't have that here. Okay. So I have to, I know how to do it. Right. But the same thing for any other job. Right. Understanding the other side is important, but that comes through development. That comes through being ready, to work and to, get the skills right. All right. Work, job and workflow analysis. We're not really gonna talk about that. Everybody know what work is. Everybody know what a job is. Okay, we're gonna skip that part. All right. Workflow analysis. We're kind of talking through it right now, so I'm not gonna kill it. All right. All right. We'll just talk about this real quick. All right. Workflow analysis, real quick. All right. You got the inputs, equipment, and people, right? And you got the work and then your output. Bless you. Right. So the inputs, of course, what's it take to get the job done, right? As far as materials, depending on what it is that you're doing. If you're manufacturing, we need the material to make the material and to make the product, okay? Whether it be chemicals, wood, steel, whatever it is, right? I need to know, okay? The equipment that goes with it, right? If I'm again, working at McDonald's or whatever, and I'm in charge of making the milkshakes, I need a milkshake machine, okay? Because I'm not making the milkshakes by hand. There's a machine, right? And so I need that equipment. They need, prompters that when you drive up to Chick-fil-A, right? And they got the little headphones and the pad and like, what do you want? Right? I need connectivity. I need the internet, right? I need Wi-Fi. I need all Bluetooth. I need all that good stuff, right? As far as equipment. And I need the people, okay? I need the skills, experience. I need the people to be available. I need to be willing to work, right? And also willing to adhere to the way I do business, right? There's a reason why Chick-fil-A, In-N-Out, everybody's been to Chick-fil-A or In-N-Out,
Yeah,
right? Okay. Look, you've been there a couple of times.
I like it.
Oh, you like that, huh?
Chick-fil-A serves the best milkshake.
It's a bit,
Yeah.
all right. I mean, yeah, all right. Like Chick-fil-A. But when you go there, right, either one, the customer service is really the highlight of the both, right? Has anybody ever been to Chick-fil-A and they've gotten something wrong? Like you ordered a chicken sandwich and they gave you, I don't know, a hamburger or something, which they don't have, but, right? Or have they ever been mean to you? Anybody ever been to McDonald's and they've been mean to you? Or got your order wrong? Right? So those places, they really push in their training about customer service, right? How do we want you to behave to the customer, right? We want you to be professional, courteous, nice, understanding, compassionate, empathetic, right? Because you don't know where that person just came from, right? And that person is stopping at our particular organization to eat their food, to spend their money, right? And so if they're doing that, we need to make sure that we take care of them, right? And so that's why you'll find when you go to these particular places that it's always a very good experience, right? In addition to the food being pretty somewhat decent, for fast food, right? It's not too bad, right? But the people are the most important thing in this whole thing, right? And hence why we're here for HR, right? The most important resource is the human, all right? And so, yes, I need these other things, but I can always kind of improvise, right? Which we've been doing for centuries, right? Anybody know how they got the pyramids up? How they build the pyramids?
Him.
Who? Who's him?
Yeah, there are so many, theories how they have been.
I was curious. I wanted to know what you was gonna think, cause I was like, I don't know. I was curious.
I'm really, I like the recent one in which they are saying they are big humans taller than.
All that, the theory right now going on, this theory has been going on right now,
Okay.
as well everywhere.
Which
But I
one?
was not born at that time, so I don't know.
You don't know, right? Nobody knows. And nobody's gonna know. Okay? We have a lot of assumptions and kind of, thoughts, right? But think about if you were back then, right? And you had to put the pyramid up, okay? And you don't have cranes and they didn't have all the stuff we have now, right? That we used to make buildings, right? How do you think they did it?
What about 50 people push a rock? I'm sure they get pretty far.
Yeah.
More than
like that.
50 people, okay? Those things are heavy, those things are tons, right? And it's not like they're all on the ground, they're way up in the sky, all right? And they are very well, much like precision cut.
Yeah.
Okay? So, what do you think the HR manager back then had to do? Yeah, it's not pretty.
Just shout and put it away.
Yeah, hey man, just do whatever, okay? Like, get a rope, get a tree branch, I don't know, get a camel, figure it out. Okay, let's do something, right? So we can always improvise these two things, right? But here, right, this is where really you make your money, right? Because if you think about the person who built the pyramids, right? Anybody know who kind of one of the lead architects? No? Okay. Well, anyway, right? If you are the one that's in charge of that project, right, of building the pyramid, and remember, back then they weren't really nice. If you didn't do the job right, guess what? It wasn't firing you. Yeah, you done, right? You gonna sleep for a long time. It's not like, oh, don't worry about it. You get another job. They know the job, okay? You're gonna die, okay? Because now the pharaoh's mad, and he's not, he needs his pyramid, okay? Before he dies, right? Because that could be 20 years to put the pyramid up, okay? So all these other things you can improvise, but the people you need to have, right? Because the work needs to be done, and you're looking for the quality project or the quality outcome, right? The output, right? Which is really everything. What are you putting out? What are you giving me? What are you giving the consumer? What are you giving the client? Okay. Is that commensurate with what they're paying for? Okay. If it's not, then you need to go back and say, look, they're paying a certain amount of money for XYZ. The expectation is this. We need to get people that can perform at this level. Okay. Whatever that may be. And if we can get the equipment and the inputs that we need in order to make their job easier, right? All this stuff we have here, this is all just stuff to help me to help you, okay? Because I've taught without this stuff before. I've taught before when I used to have to write stuff down on little microfilm. I don't know if you guys ever seen a overhead projector. You might see them on old movies where it's a piece of plastic. You write stuff down with a marker. You put it down, and there's a light. Boom! It shines on it, and then boom! It projects on the wall. Okay, old technology, super old, right? And then you had to have like 50 of them, right? And you just put them down. You could write on them, right? And the students could see, right? That's how we used to. Or you didn't have anything at all except for the blackboard, and you just kind of had to teach, right? So again, I didn't need the equipment because I'm the one that's doing the job, right? I'm the one that's teaching, right? So that's again, it goes back to the work, to the people. My experience, my skill, right? It's in here, right? So all this other stuff is great, right? It helps me to present it better. A lot of people learn better this way, to see it, right? Than just me talking. Okay. So all this stuff is important. But at the end of the day, when you're doing your analysis, it's not really, about all the other stuff. Okay? What time is it?
636.
Okay, we'll go to 6.5 million, take a break, okay? All right, so job design, job redesign. All right, when you're looking at job design, really, and we kind of talked about some of this stuff already, when you're looking at the tasks, duties, and responsibilities, you mean that go into the work. All right, improves the performance, affects overall job satisfaction, impacts both physical and mental satisfaction. So when you got, you out of here? When you got the job, right, when you're doing the job design, one of the things that you have to take in consideration is, how do I keep this person, whoever is doing it, engaged? Okay? How do I keep them somewhat satisfied about the job, right? The higher the satisfaction, the higher the job engagement, right? The more likely you're gonna get a good product or good work out of people, right? Once the job is boring or becomes mundane, you're probably gonna see a drop off for the most part, right? And so part of the job design is to really try to inject some level of difficulty, some level of challenge, some level of interest in the job, right? So that's important. Now you can't do that for every job. Some jobs are just boring. Okay, whatever it is you're doing, after a while, it's just like it's not exciting anymore, and it is what it is, right? I'm good at it, and I'm gonna do it, but it's not really not doing anything for me, right? That's when you kind of see people move on to different things. They'll go find another job that's more interesting, or even if it's just interesting for 6 months to a year because it's new, so be it, right? But you really want to make sure that you get this overall job satisfaction and you get this physical and mental satisfaction. Because I want you to be engaged. I want you to enjoy what you're doing. I want you to kind of be thinking about different things when you're doing the job. Even if you've been doing the job 10 years, over that 10-year period, there are things that have been developed or introduced that might make the job faster, more efficient, more productive. If you're doing it, then you should be looking at those things, right? How can I make this easier for myself? How can I be more efficient? How can I make it more productive, right? How can I open up some free time, free up some free time? Or how can I save the money, save the company money, okay? Anytime you can save the company money, you're gonna be the hero, okay? They're gonna love you, right? They're never gonna let you go, okay? Saving money is always a good thing, right? And then job redesign is sort of like looking at a job and thinking about, okay, what are the different ways I can do it? How can I make this better? Kind of what I was talking about, right? You know, is there a way to improve it? Is there a different way to do it? So job redesign really came in helpful during COVID. Okay, so job design for me as a lecturer is someone who teaches is come in class, stand up in the podium and talk and lecture, use PowerPoint, right? When COVID hit and we were all, sequestered to home, that wasn't gonna work, okay? So we had to redesign the job, right? Okay, well, how do we redesign it? Well, you know what? We got the internet, we got Zoom or video teleconferencing, right? Which is pretty much, look at this now and everybody has it. It's not a big deal. I mean, worst case scenario, we could have done FaceTime. Okay? So looking at the job and trying to figure out how do I overcome this obstacle that I'm dealing with, right? Do a job redesign. And that's what we did for like a better part of 2 years during COVID. I taught Zoom classes, right? So that school could continue, right? And we can keep you moving forward in your endeavors, right? Because imagine you didn't go to school for 2 years, and some people didn't, right? They just told me, it's like, I'm done. I can't learn over the internet. So that's 2 years you're behind now, right? Instead of, hey, they redesigned the job, Dr. Case can still teach the classes, okay? Now, not every class is built for teaching Zoom, but most of them did just fine, right? Not everybody likes it. I personally don't like it, but I did it anyway because that's just what needed to be done. But I wouldn't have been able to do it if we didn't have the technology. Okay, I'd have to think of something else. I'd have to think of, I had one class where I couldn't do, let's say Zoom. So guess what? If whoever wanted to meet me outside, I did a class outside, right? Because you could get together in a small groups outside, right? I didn't need chalkboard or anything. I would just talk, right? Which is that question, everybody bring your book, bring, chair, and we just sit there, we have a class, right? So again, it's a job redesign, but it's just a little different approach based on circumstances that I had to deal with, right? And so both of these particular approaches, job design, job redesign, they're essential to make sure that that things get better. Okay, things improve, right? Because every 3 or 4 years, HR looks at all this stuff. They look at the organizational chart, they look at the job description, they look at the KSAs, right? The non-skills and abilities of each job and what it entails, and sees what's relevant, what's not relevant, what's needed. Do I really need someone who can type 100 words a minute? No, I don't probably need that person anymore, right? Do I need someone who can, sew? No, I probably don't need that person. I don't need someone who probably, does whatever, right? Because we have technology. I don't, that's why when you go, so let's just say, for instance, even when you go grocery shopping, right? If you don't want to wait for a cashier, go to the self-checkout, right? Okay, but what does that mean for the company though? If I have a self-checkout, if I have 4 self-checkouts, what does that mean for the company?
For less
They're
cashiers, they gotta
saving
hire.
like 4 people salary everything.
4 less people and
Yeah.
saving salary, right? See how that goes together? Okay, I have a one-time cost for these 4 machines, right? That may have cost me, they cost me $100,000 each. That's okay, right? Because 4 people over the long term is gonna cost me more than that. Yeah.
And then I have heard that now, if you wanna self-checkout on a machine, you have to pay 2% or something like that. Or you have to have a subscription next year, I guess. So they're gonna save some money from that, they can make money.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's more of a money thing, but
Just
and
when
it may not be a money thing either.
just when people are not patient and they just wanna go fast, so they can self-checkout by giving some money.
Yeah,
Like, yeah.
as a convenience, yeah, it depends on the company. I think it depends on the company and the industry. Self-checkout works, in certain places, and you see if you go into like McDonald's or any of the fast food places, right? Shake Shack, I think, has it,
Mm,
and the one in Little Italy. You guys have been to that one, or anyone, to tell you the truth, right?
Convenience stores,
Convenience stores now have it at the airport, right? They have these
yeah, they have, well,
autonomous or no
most of them
person
are
kiosks.
having it.
Yeah, they have that, right? And all that does is really, it saves the company money, okay? Because you don't have to pay somebody. I just have to pay a one-time, cost up front to get the equipment and the machine
Yeah.
and maintenance, right? So if I can pay $100,000 for this, and I have to pay $100,000 per person for the next 3, 4 years straight, right? I just saved money, okay? I made it more convenient for the person because now this is available 24 hours, 7 days a week. Because we cannot work per se 24 hours, 7 days a week, right?
You have to fix, like, schedule it.
Yeah.
Fix some schedule.
Exactly, right?
Nowadays, and someone at certain point of the time, somebody calls up to the HR, I'm not coming that day, so we have to fix the other guy.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
right? So that's less of a headache for me when I'm, putting people on shifts, right? I don't have to worry about those things, right? But what do I have to worry about? If I go mostly automated, right, and I don't have a workforce, what do I have to worry about?
Equipment malfunction.
With malfunction?
Equipment malfunction.
Okay, what else?
The case of self-checkout grocery stores and theft.
Theft, okay,
Yeah.
yeah. What else? What else do I have to worry about?
When people can put their own scanners, so they can.
Yeah, you kind of cheat, right?
Yeah.
But if I automate things, right, the one problem that is really the issue is the fact that I'm relying on technology. Okay?
Yeah.
If the internet goes down,
Everything goes down.
everything goes down. Okay? Everything stops.
Mhm.
You see what
I was gonna say also, if you automate every job, who's gonna have money to buy the products and stuff that you sell?
Also, if something goes wrong, who's gonna call the cops?
All good questions, right? But The money part, we'll figure that out, right?
Yeah, I guess the society's not to figure that one out.
Yeah, we're going to. I mean, we're gonna probably institute here, probably next 10, 15 years, what they call the UBI. Everybody know what UBI?
Universal basic income.
Universal basic income, right? It's a concept that's been around since the fifties and sixties. And basically it just says, hey, as a right as a person, as a human being, we're gonna give you a certain amount of money to live. Right? Because there's a certain, we want you to have shelter. We want you to be able to buy food. We want you to be able to, just have the basic necessities, right, of life. But we also know that everyone can't be computer programmers. Everyone can't be engineers. Everyone can't be lawyers or doctors, right? And so we need all the other stuff, but even all the other stuff is getting automated, right? Truck drivers, right? School crossing guards, even in medicine, right?
Yeah.
Doctors use robot arms now to do, I don't know if you guys ever seen it before,
Yeah.
doing surgery, right?
Yeah.
But not even there. Remote surgery. Have you guys ever seen the remote surgery? Where the doctor's doing the surgery from 2,000 miles away?
Yeah, they having the.
Yeah, they have that, right? They put the nose on the doctor, and then the robot arms on the other side of the patient.
Yeah, he's doing stuff like that.
Big screen, big TV, got a couple people in there, and then the doctor's pretty much using the robot arms and cutting them up, and right? So now we've saved the money for the doctor traveling, we save time, because if it's emergency surgery,
Yeah.
and certain disciplines or certain things about our body, right, takes a certain type of doctor. And there's lots of doctors that, specialties that just aren't everywhere, right? So if you're in somewhere in some other country and you're living in a village that's 100 miles away from the nearest town, right? If you go to that town and there's a doctor in the US that can do the surgery, I can do it remote, right? Now that's not for everybody, but it's a possibility, right? It's something that is in the realm of, okay, we can do that now, all right?
So
All right.
it's more complicated if we are in a war and robots are like fighting with each other and this suddenly stops just for
That's
letting
when
them
artificial intelligence gets too intelligent and too self-aware.
Yeah,
Have you
that's,
ever seen that? Cause there's an AI-powered robot working an assembly line, and I think it works for like 20 minutes and it just shuts itself off.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, that's not, but that's part of the program.
Yeah.
That's part of the program, right? We're never gonna get into, well, not never, but there's a concept called, it's what you guys are talking about, it's called singularity, right? Where the machine becomes self-aware. Everybody seen I Am Legend? No, not I Am Legend, I Robot.
Robot.
With Will Smith? Everybody seen that movie? No? Maybe? Okay. So basically the robots, they get a conscience and they understand themselves and they understand like, oh, I could be happy, sad, mad, angry, right?
Mhm.
That's called singularity. And then they start to kind of take over and start to create other robots
Yeah.
or the machines in order to replace humans, right? That will never necessarily happen because of the first rule of robotics. Robots are not allowed to harm humans.
Yeah.
Okay, there's 3 rules. Okay, when you go to AI, yes.
But I've seen some people playing with AI and ChatGPT in a way that they keep asking so many questions back to back to back.
Right.
That the robot kind of, like the artificial intelligence kind of answers in a way, it's like, would you pretty much, yeah, I would like to be self-aware, like to.
Right, yeah, it's gonna seem like it. It's gonna seem like the robot is self-aware, but it's not. It's basically responding based on
What you were asking.
the patterns, the repetitiveness of the data,
Just
right?
like
The more data you have, the more input you have, the more responses it has, right? That's how kind of Siri works.
Yeah, the
Right.
same thing.
Siri's taking inputs from everyone, right? We got the same question, right? But Siri will look at it differently, based on your accent, based on the tempo,
Yeah.
right? Based on the time of day you say it, right? Or ask it, right? It will do different things, and it'll take all that and know that and understand that those are all different variables that I can assume that I'm going to encounter, right? So how did I answer it in these 100 cases, right? What's the average answer I gave in these 100 particular scenarios? This is the answer I'm going to give in the 101st scenario, okay? Because now I understand, I'm learning, right? So we're getting into different things, all right? This is not the topic at hand. All right, take 10 minutes, come on back. Okay?
Yeah. कहाँ पे है दीदी? मेल पे आइए 1500 दिन 15 मेरे से ले लो हैं मैं पढ़ा 15 पढ़ा नहीं वो उनको नहीं उनको तो वो छाड़ दे आगे मेरा ना पेंशन प्लस पे उन्हें चेक भेज थोड़ी भेजेंगे चेक करेंगे मैं तो ऑलरेडी मैं तो पेड लिखी अगली बार करेंगे अभी नहीं करेंगे टोटल क्रेडिट है अगली बार क्रेडिट हो जाएगा तो मेरे को 10 साल 10 के 15 साल साल का साल की वैल्यू अच्छा हाँ 2 साल अगले साल में हो जाएगा ना साल को चक्कर नहीं अगर मैं ट्रैफिक से पेट बच गया
I was wearing the same last week. I was in the organization. I have to do my I just did our point. But it was so good. I was because of your in person or I never done the report. Never done the report. Recording. Not all, not all person.
You need me? Yeah, most of. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I see it. I see it. I'm gonna take off all the points, okay?
Oh, Mark. I'm not taking those. I didn't even.
Yeah, I already did.
Really, we're good. We'll get your number.
Yeah. What I'm going to know from you, I don't think I have to do it. I really think this is a topic, yeah. For this is for making the meeting. Yeah.
What we're thinking.
I already think and I think yes, to me, yeah, it's good. Yeah.
I saw it, she was in the Zoom, but I don't think she.
What are you going to?
Create a group chat with
What are you going to?
me, Father David.
This is the.
I'll do that, I'll do that.
That is the personal. It's what is already. Thank you. That's okay. I think these are the- Mhm. Are you-
Oh.
The personal.
Oh, yes.
I don't know. I'm like, I'm an extra. But that's also in Korean as well.
What do you think?
Same Korean as. I got the
Oh,
same,
ENTJ.
I got the same, result.
Yeah.
Result.
Yeah, ENTJ.
Also, when you're doing Korean version, there's like two versions.
Wait, you go to Korea, please?
I did for my Korean
Wow.
version.
ENTJ.
And I got the same result. I was like,
That's the other part.
where does it say?
Pretty
Um,
extrovert and.
does that mean you're like the open mind person? No, not. Because I'm like confident. I like to, like I say, I like to go to travel around the world. I like to travel. I'm like, I try to be like open minded, but sometimes I'm like really close to one person. I don't talk to other people, but I try to be open minded person. It's like, and sometimes I get like very shy, like I don't talk to,
Like, you just meet people or just shy in general?
well, I just sometimes I have a feeling that I want to like stay like like I don't want to talk to other people, like just only like I want to like focus myself on myself. You know, the feeling.
Inbuilt thing.
Like I don't want to bother the other people. Sometimes I feel like.
It's just what doing your own thing.
Do you feel like sometimes when you feel like negative? Do you always feel like positive?
Sometimes you feel negative, positive about things or situations or even. It's weird to be positive all the time, but it's also weird to be negative all the time.
So you like,
That's to be a good balance.
to be like normal
Mhm.
person.
Yeah. You can't be negative about everything all the time.
Oh.
Some people are, but.
I suddenly, like, there was a famous dog, and he was basically he got killed. Like, I don't know, like, what happened to him. It's like the, famous Korean movie, or drama. He's the actor. Oh,
For media actors, once you think your life's gonna be a certain way, it turns out it isn't, and it gets a lot of expectations too. You know, you go do work, it goes to show, and you want, you want things to keep going, or some people are okay with, just one show and do pretty much. Like a job, you do a job and you stop doing it and you move on with your life, so people just can't do it like that. It's probably something else.
I have a question, like, why do people, like, why do they want to
That's a
kill themselves, like?
tricky question. Guess some people want to, they have some kind of pain, they think they're gonna stop with it, or
Maybe get some skills, like one, maybe from work
maybe
or.
some people, it's mental health is tricky because, people just feel like that and they can't explain why they feel the way they do it, they just do it. That's why, of course, some people, seek help, like proper help, people that can actually guide them through, stop doing what they do, or it's just some people can help it, they just feel like that.
Sometimes when I see news, when maybe like famous celebrity, I feel like
Hey.
Before I said,
not like.
no, I just put it on. Tries for, it's everyone. Just most people.
Now maybe maybe do some exercise, makes you feel.
Get rolling. All right, let's look at some of this, characteristics of jobs and people, okay? All right, so job characteristics, right, the things that management can control, right? Some of these things, tasks, time requirements, social opportunities, and stress, right, working conditions. And the people characteristics, stuff that you can't control, right? Interest, motivation, satisfaction, those kind of things, right? One of the biggest things that we have as far as, concerns in the workforce is the inability to control people, right? Inability to control personality, inability to control motivation. And so you'll see that companies will stress and have a kind of a tight grip on the things that they can't control, right? And you really want to focus on things you can control, right? Trying to control something that is unpredictable is impossible, okay? And you don't want that. You don't want to control, manage, change something that is not necessarily ready to do that, okay? Think about yourself, or if you're in a relationship, right? When you go into a relationship, you don't want someone who's trying to change you. You don't want someone who's trying to control you, right? You want someone who's going to accept you for who you are, for your good and your bad, right? Same thing with work. This is why it's important during the interview that I figure out, do you fit with the organizational culture, okay? If you are someone who's not going to necessarily thrive in the environment that you're in because of your personality or because of certain quirks you have or who you are, then I'm probably not going to bring you on. If I do bring you on, I need to be specific about where I put you, right? You may not be a people person, right? Or you may be quiet, or you may be grandiose, or you may be, very extroverted, right? All those things have a place, right? And a time. So you have to find the person that can handle that can control that. Because sometimes I need someone that can turn it on. Other times I need someone that can turn it off, right? I need somebody who's, calm and level-headed, but I also need somebody that can ignite a fire, okay? And so we're asking a lot of people, especially as leaders, to be, aware of the situation and to apply different skill sets to that situation, right? And so you'll see that people thrive in different environments, okay? And it's just understanding the person. But again, those are things that you can and can't control, and things you can control, you do that, all right? You try to be as efficient as possible in the amount of money you spend, the amount of time you pay people for, just, more of the tangible things about being in a company, or working for a company, or owning a company, or running a company, right? I control the budget. I control what we produce. I control, for the most part, our reputation to a certain degree, right? Because I can't control you. If you go out and you do something, right, then it might reflect on the company in a negative way, or maybe in a positive way, right? But I can't really control that. But I can at least control most of the things that you're doing in the office at work, okay? All right, so different types of employees: full-time, part-time, independent contractors, temporary workers, and contingent workers, right? And so each one, of course, serves a purpose. Full-time employees, 40 hours a week, all the benefits, you get paid, you may be salaried or hourly, right? Doesn't matter. Part-time employee, that really suggests, or usually suggests 20 hours or so, okay? You normally don't get any benefits, okay? And you're there, usually based on your schedule, because you can't do a full-time position, right? Or the company just needs you there sometimes, Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, or something like that, right? Independent contractors, these are somewhat of entrepreneurs or people that have their own businesses or have a provided skill, but don't want to be attached to any one company. They want to be able to freelance and kind of work with whoever they want to work with, work on different things. Normally, independent contractors like working with different projects in different industries and different scenarios. So they tend to not really tie themselves to one company, right? Because they don't want the exclusivity, right? I don't want to be just work for you, right? You tell me what to do, when to do, how to do it, that kind of thing, right? Independent contract is probably the closest thing you're going to get to being an entrepreneur, but still kind of being tethered to different, entities, maybe 2 or 3 different entities, or whatever the case may be. Or you'll find this a lot in the construction industry, where you have tile setters, cabinet makers, people like that, right? That are doing more blue collar jobs, that are, looking to get business with everyone, because their skill sets are required pretty much everywhere. So they can kind of pick and choose who they want to work with, and they just create a contract with that person or that entity, and it's for a specific period of time, specific work, specific amount of money, okay? Temporary workers are just that. I just need you for a little bit of time, okay? I need you for 6 months. I need you for 3 months, right? Because I have a stopgap. Somebody left, somebody got fired, somebody got pregnant, somebody got sick, whatever the case may be. I just need a temporary worker, right? Contingent worker, no different, okay? Contingent worker is just that. It's based on what's going on, based on the situation, all right? I may have something going on, they say, for instance, this election, okay? This election is a contingency, right? And saying that, look, we know the president's gonna be moving about, doing certain things, there's, we need more security, right? So we're gonna bring more security on, right? That's contingent upon us having an event where the president's gonna be at, right? Or where there's gonna be dignitaries or high visibility people, right? So because of that, I need to bump up the staff, I need to bump up security, I need to bump up the budget, I need to do a lot of things extra from what we normally do. So we're gonna bring in some contingent workers, or you might even see this in the sense of seasonal workers, right? If you go into the mall right now, right after Thanksgiving, you're gonna see an influx of employees, okay? Because now it's gonna be the shopping season, all right? Once Black Friday hits, there's usually one person at the register. There's gonna be 3, 4 people. There's gonna be 5 or 6 people walking around, and then once Christmas is over, once the holidays are done, they're out of there. They're gone. Okay? The contingency is the holiday, right? Because we know there's an increased shopping, people are spending more money, and so because of that, I need to bump up the staff because I need to be able to accommodate all those people. I don't want people standing around for an hour waiting to talk to somebody because the person came in to buy an iPhone and they have 50 questions and I got one person and they're just sitting there talking to one person and everybody's just waiting, okay? We don't want that, all right? Because guess what? Eventually someone's gonna get bored, they're gonna get sick and tired of waiting, they're gonna walk out the door, they're gonna get their iPhone from someplace else, right? So you don't wanna lose money, right? And so because of that, it's okay if I bring in a person for $20, but I'm gonna get $50 on average from a customer, right? So there's a $30 profit margin right there, okay? So I have to kind of think about those things. So different type of workers that, kind of go on, right? Oops. Person job fit, we've been talking about this kind of throughout the whole class, right? We're really looking for the right person, right job, okay? Right place, right time, right skill set, okay? It really is about matching up individuals with the right positions so that you get the most out of them, right? You have to really listen and be able to kind of read between the lines when you're doing these, because sometimes all the people's skills don't necessarily jump out on the page, right? They don't necessarily know what's going on per se, right? And so I may have to, there may be a situation where, I exhibit a skill that you're like, oh, I didn't know you could do that. Like, yeah, okay, well, you know what? You'll fit better here than you are here, right? Because I didn't know you could do that, okay? And so we're always looking for the right person, right job, and to match them up because that will keep them engaged, that will keep them excited, that will keep them satisfied, right? If they feel they're in a position that is intriguing to them, okay? If someone says, look, I can do this, I don't want to do this, right? Probably not a good idea to put them in that job, right? They might be the right person, but it's not the right job for them because they don't want to do it, right? I'm a good long distance runner, and I'm also a good sprinter. I don't like either one of them, but if I need to do it, I can, right? But if you ask me what I would like to do, I like to sit down, okay, and just relax, all right? Or I'd rather not be in charge of anybody. Can I be in charge of people? Yes, I've been in charge of thousands of people, but my preference is not to be in charge of anyone, okay? Because I don't want to write any evals anymore. I don't want to deal with personnel issues, right? If you put me in that position, one, you probably have to compensate me really well, right? Because I'm going to ask you some extra, some crazy amount of money, okay? Two, I might not, last too long because I'm stressed out because I told you I didn't want the job, and there's a reason why I didn't want it because I don't want to deal with the stress, right? And so now you have to go find somebody else to do the job, right? And there are plenty of people out there that want to be in charge, right? A lot of leaders. Okay, now whether or not they can actually be a leader is a different story, but there's a lot of people that want to be leaders, right? But finding the right person, the job fit is important and really critical, okay? All right, some different approaches to job design, right? take a chance, take an opportunity, go read all this stuff, right? But job simplification basically is just taking the job and just chopping it up to make it easier to consume, right? And they say, how do you eat an elephant? Anybody ever heard that saying? How do you eat an elephant? Oh, come on. Yeah, how do you eat an elephant? Never thought of eating an elephant? That's good to know. Okay, neither did I. All right. I hope no one here is eating elephants. But, all right, there's a saying here in the United States. How do you eat an elephant? Right? One bite at a time. Okay? It's not like you can just grab the elephant and put it in your mouth, right? You gotta have to a little piece here, a little piece there. Over time, the elephant disappears, right? It's the same thing with most tasks, right? They're easier to understand if you break it down, right? By looking at it as a whole and going, I don't know where to start with this, right? If there's a rocket in front of me and they're saying, hey, we need you to take the rocket apart or put a rocket together, and here's an example, and I look at the rocket like, I don't know where to start, right? But if they take the rocket apart, it's okay, I'm gonna start at the top. I'm gonna put the capsule head here, I'm gonna put the body here, engine here, the propulsion here, the thermodynamics here, all the different parts. I separate it out and then I go and I look at this one piece at a time, try to understand these things. And then after that, I understand how do all these things work together, right? That's my next phase, right? But when you simplify the job, you break it down so you can really see what's going on in each particular step or each particular part to have a good understanding. And then you kind of figure out, okay, how do they work together to put the product together, right? Job enlargement, yeah, just basically put more tasks in, right? Increasing the number of different tasks that are involved. And this is, so all these things, job enlargement, job enrichment, job simplification, they're really approaches in which we try to figure out how can I get the best way to work for someone, right? The way in which we work, right, is critical. And sometimes when we go back to the lawyer example I was using, sometimes people work better in small bite-sized pieces, right? Other people, they want to see what the outcome is, right? What is it? What's the goal? What is it you want at the end, right? What is it that you want? We want an iPhone. Okay, great. That's all I need to know. Some people, they need to, you want an iPhone, yeah, but I gotta take this off. They gotta break it apart. They gotta look at it. They gotta open it up. They gotta look at the app. They gotta go to the settings. They gotta see what version of the phone is. They gotta do all this stuff, right? Other people are like, yeah, I can do it, but I probably need some help. I need one more person that does this particular thing, right? Because X, Y, Z, right? So everyone works differently, right? And so all these particular job design approach are really leading to that, right? Trying to facilitate the different ways in which people work and understand things, all right? And so again, you have to look at the job and the person that's in the job. Some people, again, are quick to pick up on things, right? And some people sometimes just don't get it, right? And when I teach my stats class, I approach it kind of in this way, right? Because I'll talk about something in stats and I'll get, maybe if there's 25 people in the class, 3 people will be like, got it, easy peasy. The other 22 are like, I don't know what you're talking about, okay? So I have to go back for those other 22 people and go, okay, how can I break this down so they can understand it, right? So I go, okay, let's talk about data. Just data, that's it. There's discrete data, there's continuous data, okay? Oh, okay, discrete is, can't be broken down into any smaller parts. Continuous, it just means it goes on forever, right? Oh, what's an example? Okay, discrete. Can you split a baby in half? Can you split a baby in half? Can you split a car in half? You can, right?
Yeah.
But does it still work? No, that's the key, right? When you talk about discrete, you can't cut anything in half, but does it still function the way it's supposed to? Then it's not discrete. Cannot be, right? Continuous is it just goes on and on and on, right? How much do you weigh? How much do you weigh?
195.
You sure?
Yes.
I think you don't. I know you don't.
Want to test it out?
Huh? I already know you don't. Where'd you get that 195 from?
The scale at the gym?
Oh, the scale at the gym, huh?
Yes.
Was it digital?
Yes.
Okay, so you guys ever heard of something called truncation or truncating? Okay, so truncating is what we do to numbers. Okay, because you don't actually weigh 195. You weigh 195.0523689123456789123456, and it goes on forever. Okay, that's continuous. But we say 195 because we can't say 1.95.3677 forever, right? We just say 195 and we get the general idea, right? That's a continuous number, right? And so I would break it down that way and they go, oh, I get it now. Okay, now let's move on to maybe the mean. Let's move on to the range. Let's move on to different quartiles and that kind of thing, standard deviation that we know. So these particular things based on how people work, how people learn, right? You do these things, you redesign things on the fly sometimes in order to enable, facilitate the process, okay? And so you're gonna have to do that in your job. One of the demands of being a leader and being managing people is being dynamic and being open to understanding the people. It's not just about, oh, you got a job and that's that. You have to understand the people. You have to understand who works for you, what they can and can't do, what their fears are, what are their motivations. What buttons can I push to make this person go? What buttons can I push to make this person slow down? What do I need to understand about this person to get them on my side, right? If you think about a team, right, and a coach, the coach's job isn't to, coach X and O's, right? Because if you're a coach, the players probably know the game, right? They know the game. They know how to play soccer. They know how to play basketball. They know how to play football. They know how to play cricket, whatever it is, right? They know how to play these games, right? My job as a coach is to get the best out of you, okay? And how do I do that? Is by understanding who you are. Some players, and this is, I've had different coaches over the years, right? When I was playing basketball, the coach mattered to me, okay? That's why you see coaches get fired or coaches, players like their coaches, right? I had one coach in particular, he was a screamer, he was a yeller, because he felt like if he yelled at you and he screamed at you, that you would understand and that you'd be fearful of messing up, right? That didn't work for me. I didn't like getting screamed and yelled at because then I felt like I did something wrong, which I technically did, but I don't want you to yell and scream at me about it. Tell me what I did wrong, right? I had a different coach who had that approach where, hey, next time, don't go under the pick, go over the pick, right? Because you got to know what you're dealing with, right? And that worked better for me. But I had a friend of mine who was on the team with me that didn't work for him. He liked to be yelled at. Because for him, it was like, oh, you're yelling at me, you're mad at me, that's gonna make me work because now I know you care, right? So it's those kind of weird things, right, that you have to understand as a leader in order to make sure that these kind of things, all right, that you use these tools, that you get the best out of people. Because that's really what it's about. Leveraging, what you know in order to get the best out of your workforce, okay? So job rotation. Job rotation is cool, but usually that doesn't happen, right? Because it's almost like doing too many things at once, sort of, right? And depending on what it is, like you may be an engineer and you're a civil engineer and you rotate from like, doing commercial high rises to working on highway systems or street systems or traffic systems to working on something different, right? That's a different type of job rotation, right? That's a normal, maybe a normal progression, right? But for me, like if I'm teaching this class and they say, oh, we're gonna rotate you to being, the dean of student affairs or something, I'm like, I don't want to do that, right? That's not a job rotation that's gonna really do anything for me. It's gonna help you out, but it's not really a job rotation, right? But job rotations are good because you get to what we call cross train. Okay, you get to experience different aspects, and you'll do job rotation or sign up. You do job rotations usually when you first get to a job, and they want to introduce you to all the facets of the company. So then from there, you kind of understand what the company does, and you can kind of choose where you want to go, right? It's like going to medical school, right? When you go to medical school, 9 times out of 10, most of the medical students, they don't know what kind of doctor they want to be, right? They rotate them so they can see the different aspects. You're going to ophthalmology this week. Next week, you're going to be in cardiology. After that, you'll be in oncology. Then you'll be da-da. And that way, or orthopedics, so that way you get a sense of, oh, I don't like cardiology, too much blood, right? I like orthopedics because I like dealing with the bones and fixing stuff, right? I don't want to do gynecology because I just don't want to deal with that aspect of medicine, right? At all. I like this part, right? You get an idea of what's going on, right? And you get an idea of like what I like and don't like. That's what job rotations are, kind of helpful for, right? And so if you have someone who's not engaged, who's not satisfied in what they're doing, right? You could put them through a job rotation because there may be another area in the company where they may be interested in. Okay? And so job rotations are pretty useful, but most times people don't want to do that because they're really trying to be proficient at their job. And once you get proficient at your job and you're good at it, you start taking shortcuts, you start, knowing where I can do certain things. And then you have more time to kind of goof off, right? And do your thing because, hey, it's going to take me an hour to do this. I ain't worried about that, all right? I know what I'm doing, right? If you don't know what you're doing, you're going to come in early, stay late, be focused on, I got to figure this out, because now I'm looking like I don't know what I'm doing, right? I'm behind what I need to be learning, right? All right, capture the job to consider and design, right? Skill variety, task identity, task significance, autonomy, and feedback, all right? Okay, so skill variety, right? Several activities for successful completion. We're just gonna see what different skill sets you're gonna need to do the job, right? And one job may just be typing, and that's all you do, right? It's not varying in skills, right? But say, like for me, when I code, right, I have to understand coding, I have to understand Python, but I also have to understand SQL, I have to understand databases, right? I have to understand different things, I have to understand different algorithms, different, modules in which to use, right? So there's different skills that come into that where I have to like kind of tap into all of them to kind of create what I need to create, right? So you need that. Task identity, right? It's just making sure that you, not that you want somebody to be on the job from start to finish, per se, but you like some consistency with the job, right? And the ability to say, this is the task that is at hand, and I know from A to Z, sort of, right? And that I'm gonna have somebody on there that is very familiar with the process, and I can talk to them and they can tap into that and that kind of thing, right? Tax significance, right? Probably more important than anything else, right? Between that and their autonomy, well, feedback really. Tax significance, right? Impact the job has on other people, right? There's very few jobs that are in an organization that's not gonna have a contribution and impact on another particular facet of the company, right? They're all dependent, basically what I'm getting at, right? Task significance is very dependent based, right? If I don't do my job, you can't do your job, right? If you can't do your job, that means somebody else can't do their job, right? So pretty much we're failing, right? Because of one person or two people, right? So the significance of the task has to be conveyed to you, to the importance of it, right? So you understand exactly where you're at in the totem pole, right? In the spectrum of things, right? You taking the trash out is not important. That's not going to affect anything. But if you don't get this particular task done, right, so you can give it to the next person, nothing happens, right? So think of it from a project management standpoint. If you don't, like, let's just say you're cooking something, okay? if you don't get all the ingredients, you can't really start to cook. If you don't have the proper pots or proper seasonings or that kind of thing, right? You really can't start to cook anything. If you're waiting for someone to bring something, right? You can't really do anything about it, right? You gotta wait, okay? Autonomy, all right? We're talking about freedom to make decisions and that kind of thing. Most jobs are not gonna give you a lot of autonomy, okay? Depends on the position you're in, because autonomy means decision-making power. And most organizations are not gonna just let you make decisions without some kind of oversight, okay? If they do, there's some threshold. You can only spend $500. You can only make decisions based on, that are based on these criteria. You can only make decisions about these three people here, right? You can only make decisions in the morning. You can only make decisions when I'm here, when I'm not here, right? Those kind of things, right? Because the more autonomy you have, the more impact you're gonna have on the organization. And if by chance that you make a decision that doesn't really align with what's going on, you're gonna mess up a lot of things. Okay, you're gonna mess up a lot of work. That's why you have people that, what we call QC, quality control, right? Because if I give you autonomy as a mechanic or someone who's putting a product together and I don't check it, how do I know that it's done right? I don't, right? It's not that I don't trust you. I do trust you, but they always say, right? Trust, but verify. Okay? If you don't verify, you're gonna get basically what you get, right? You what is it they say? You expect what you inspect. Okay? If you're looking for something in particular, or you have a certain specific specification, you need to check it out. Especially if your name's going on it, right? When I'm a chair and people are getting ready to do their doctorate and I have to sign off on it, best believe like that whole process is very, very important to me. I'm very detailed, meticulous about it because at the end of the day, I have to sign off on it and saying, yes, you deserve this doctorate because you did all the research, you did come up with some great ideas, and you deserve to be called a doctor. My name goes on that, right? So I need to check and verify all that stuff before I sign off on it because if I don't, and your stuff is garbage, right? Guess what? They're gonna look at me like you're garbage too. Okay, because you let that go. Right? You approved it. You said it was good to go. Right? You said it was okay. Right? So you're garbage too. Whoever taught you is garbage too. Okay? So it kind of goes down the line. And feedback. Probably paramount to most things, okay? Why is feedback important? And then we'll finish. What time is it? Wait a minute. I'll find out myself. All right, all right, we'll finish on feedback. All right, why is feedback important?
It depends at what time it's been received.
No, in general, why is
It
feedback
basically
important?
depends, like, if we get the feedback, we can do better things in the next part of the company, so we can rectify something. from the
Absolutely.
Feedback. So
Exactly.
feedback is something which provides us the pathway to improve something.
Got you.
Yeah.
Pretty much what I'm saying.
Same thing.
To
Okay.
let you know if you're doing well or
Okay.
not
Right.
on what task.
What else?
Upgradations, we do upgradation according to the feedback. If
Right.
the customer needs something to be upgraded, he will type it down in the
Right.
feedback so we can catch it and put it.
Okay.
System.
What are you gonna say?
Same thing.
Same thing? Okay. Anybody else? Right. Feedback is important for all those things, right? But one of the things that feedback does, right, that is important to the workforce is that it makes you feel included.
Yeah.
Why do I care what you think? You're the worker, right? It's gonna
Boost
be
the
the product.
morale, it boosts the morale of the team that someone is looking for us, someone is giving importance to our work. That we're
Exactly.
working there,
Mhm.
someone is getting the feedback, that someone is consuming our stuff.
Exactly, right? Your input is valuable. And so if your input is valuable, you feel like you're contributing in a positive way, that's gonna boost your morale, it's gonna improve your productivity and your efficiency, all right? That's what I want.
Yeah.
All right. In addition to the feedback, right? Because the feedback you give me, it may not be relevant, or I may have thought of it already, and like there's a reason why I didn't do it that way, right? But at the same time, right, it's important for morale it's for well-being. It's important to make people feel vested in the process and let them know, hey, you're valued here in the company because I care about what you say. Right? I care about what you think, right? If you think in a certain way and think it's important, then it must be important, okay? All right. Any questions, comments, complaints, grievances?
How
No?
to answer the question when you give into and they ask for, do you have work authorization?
Do I have what?
Do you have work authorization?
What about it?
It's a general question.
Is that work authorization?
It's like a more of a.
I was like, well, I don't understand the question.
It's more like a real life based scenario.
He just wanna get into that, you know?
Wait, well, I wanna, what's the question?
So my question was like, being an international student,
Uh-huh,
you reach out to company and they say, do you have work authorization?
uh-huh.
How to reply that?
Oh, you got one?
I mean, depends on what you're trying to do.
Well, do you have one?
Exactly.
What's the question? Do you have one?
Yeah.
There's always that little check
What
mark
if
that's
you-
gonna give you trouble for it. It's
Yeah,
like,
if
do
you
Yeah, that's.
If you have it, it's one thing. If it's in the process, then I think technically you would say, yeah, right? Maybe if it's in the process, but if it's not in the process and you don't have one, no, the answer is no.
No,
So
yeah.
it says on the paper, like you have authorization?
Then you wanna know if you can work. The
Yeah.
short answer is yes, but
Right.
for how long, how much? and,
Right,
you
they're
know,
gonna,
Yeah,
yeah.
there
For
are
the short-
consequences comes with this, so if you're working full-time, they're gonna throw us out and like.
No, you
stuff
can
like
work
that.
full-time on your CPT,
Yeah.
but your OPT is out of the question after that.
Right.
After 11 months, 11 and a half months, your OPT is gone if you work full-time CPT.
Yeah.
You see, just talk to PH. You know,
You can work full-time, you just have to
This
be
guy works with
under 12.
yes, under 12.
You can work 11 months and 30 days, and you're still good, but
Yeah. And then start over.
you gotta be meticulous.
That was the question, work authorization? Gotta go upstairs, talk to Carol.
Yes.
All right, any real questions? Any other questions?
It's not a one question.
Hey, if you don't wanna stay, you don't have to stick around for the question, you can go. Okay,
I'm just gonna make you up about that. This thing, what happened with.
okay, all right. You can ask it if it's gonna be concerning everyone else. Go ahead.
No, not that.
You sure?
Yeah.
Nothing? Okay. I'll see you guys next week. Hopefully work
Like,
authorization.
yeah, I have something to say to you, like, it was a wonderful class and thank
You're
you for
welcome.
coming on to your birthday and still you're coming.
Oh, no, my birthday was Saturday. I'm okay. I'm all right.
Like,
Thank you. I'm okay. Yeah.
I have to be on the second engagement.
No, you can- yeah, of
Because of
course,
the capital letters or something, you get messed up.
Excited.
Learning
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, cool, they know.
Can I hit you up and
Let me what if the problem is, and I'll take a look at it.
Yeah, cause I have.
Yeah, hit me up if you have any
I think it's a
questions.
mess, cause
It's
I
like
already
the-
my assignment.
Yeah, it's like certain for like about my.
Oh, yeah,
It's
it's
nonsense.
already
Yeah.
over and I can't read it.
Oh,
I can
I'll
come in,
check.
again,
Yeah.
we can have
That's
some
what-
idea.
If you repost it,
Yeah.
I put a comment in there. If you repost it, I'll go back and read it. Yeah.
Oh,
did you? I didn't
Okay,
check it.
my
Yeah, it's on, if
My
you post it.
best
You need to open the report.
Start your
Option.
relationship.
oh,
with what
Yeah,
I
was I
feel
submitted
good
already?
It's closed already?
now.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Somewhere
Send me an
that you
email.
can see
Yeah, I
yourself
sent you-
working,
okay.
and no way until
I-
the
I
last
replied
minute
you.
to like, oh.
But I
No,
send you.
send me an email.
Okay, maybe tomorrow.
Yeah, it's gonna be
Whenever.
too late then.
Send me whenever.
Yeah.
I mean, you can work, it just won't be what you want. That's a.
Yeah, exactly.
What's up?
No, we're just talking about all that kind of stuff. I have,
Yeah,
I've been
We were
through so
talking about
many,
something to worry.
but work,
Yeah.
nothing wrong with work, yeah.
I've been to several